reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. MMO Reporters coverage of PAX East 2012 is brought to you by our exclusive sponsor, Squarespace.
So I'm here at the Secret World booth, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Secret World. So for those of our listeners or viewers who might not know who you are, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do with the Secret World?
Yeah, my name is Erling Ellingson. I am the Director of Communication in Funcom. I've been with Funcom since 2006, so I work primarily with Age of Conan and now the Secret World. So I do, everything PR, that sort of stuff. I mean, but I do a ton of stuff in Funcom, but yeah, the list is long.
So, Secret World is now in the beta phases. It's going through. We just had a guest come through the shot there. It's coming through. Going to come out at some point in the future here. And what is it about the Secret World that makes it unique to the glut of MMOs that's out there right now?
Well, I would say it's two key things. And the one thing is, of course, the setting. It's set in a real modern day world. It's contemporary setting, so it's very different from all the fantasy and science fiction games out there. But at the same time, it does have those dark fantasy elements, because you will go to Transylvania and you will kill vampires, but at the same time you will be in New York and you will be working for the Illuminati. So it's very, it has a lot of breadth, I would say. And the second thing is, of course, the freedom that we're giving players to progress or develop their character. You don't have classes or levels. You have over 500 different abilities in the ability wheel that we call it, and you can basically get all of them. You just need ability points to purchase them, but you can get all of them on one character if you want to, if you play long enough. So it's an incredible level of freedom. You can really tweak and customize your character and play it any way you like. And at any point you can change build, for instance. So if you have like a tank-like build, and you're fighting and you're joining another party in another dungeon, for instance, and they need more of a healer type character, then you can just switch quickly by just rearranging your abilities that you've already purchased. So there's a lot of level of freedom.
Can you save different builds like that, or do you have to go in and change all of the different abilities individually?
No, you can save them. That's what we call a gear manager, and you can even click on another player and you can share that build with another player who can also then use that. Provided that he or she has, of course, the abilities. But there's a lot of power there.
So does that mean that if someone has played the game for a little bit longer than I have, they have more ability points, will I get a simpler version of their build, or I need to have at least their amount of skill points to be able to copy theirs?
No, they will actually need to go in and buy those abilities, so they will see what they're missing, basically, and then they need to fill it out, basically, so yeah.
So PvP, there's instance PvP in this. What are some of the different modes, maps that you've got available?
Yeah, well, we have, for instance, Stonehenge, which is a 5 versus 5 versus 5 area, and it's a King of the Hill type gameplay, where you have to stand in the center of Stonehenge and collect its magic. And other players will try to get you out of that center and so on. So the longer you can stay there, the better it is, and you can win, basically. We also have another what we call battlefields is El Dorado, which is 15 versus 15 versus 15, and that's sort of a capture the flag thing, but with a bit more a unique twist, I would say, because you pick up the flag and you run around. It's not a flag, it's actually something else, a magical artifact, and you can put it down and you can defend it and so on. So it adds a lot of strategy, and we're getting some really positive response on those type of things.
So you pick a spot that you're going to defend, you plop it down, and that's it. That's where you're going to make your stand.
Exactly. But we also have massive PvP. With up to 150 players, so 50 from each secret society, which is a persistent playfield. So that war is always going on, and you can go in and you can go out. It's no lobbying or anything like that. It's a persistent thing that's going on, and then you fight for different points, and you on the map, and you're fighting to unlock the magic that's in the center of this area, basically.
And since this is a secret world, I'm guessing that there's no open world PvP because it wouldn't be so secret anymore?
No, we don't have open world PvP, no, we don't.
So it's what's going to keep those. When I play MMOs, my favorite thing to do is to do instance content. So what's going to draw me into a secret world?
Well, we do have a lot of instant content. Absolutely. I mean, we have several different dungeons. I mean, for instance, we have Hell dungeons. We have actually 3 dungeons in Hell. We have this really cool dungeon set in a Soviet research facility. We have a dungeon in New England, which is basically a stranded super tanker infested with undead Vikings. We have a little bit of everything, and I mean you can join these different. I mean you can sign up for a group and jump right in there. So I mean we definitely have that gameplay as well. But I think a lot of the longevity of the game is actually creating all of these different builds, purchasing abilities and creating different builds and going over things in that way. But the storyline as well, I mean, is huge. I mean, there's hundreds of hours of gameplay in here. And one of the really beautiful things about the Secret World is that the story is always there, and all the content is handcrafted. I mean, you won't feel that the game sort of tapers off in quality after a while. So you feel like, I mean, you feel almost like you're playing this gigantic single-player game, but with your friends and strangers, you know.
As you progress into, I guess there's not really an end game because you're always progressing, right? There's no maximum level. But as players become more comfortable with the game, and as their characters become more experienced, what is it? Is there anything as they get more experience that changes in the game, or the experience that you get in those first few levels, is it continuous throughout your experience?
No. I mean, the playing with the different abilities, of course. I mean, it becomes more challenging, and also the content that you're playing become more challenging. Definitely, it really does. I mean, not just from a perspective of having played the game more, so then things should be more complicated. But I mean, it is more challenging. And yes, I mean, we don't have endgame in that sense because there is. I mean, it feels like endgame all the time in a way. But of course, there are stuff that you have to work towards getting to. Even if we don't have levels. I mean, there's stuff that you won't be able to fight, you know, right away. So there's definitely a feeling of progression, especially with the different abilities. Like we have, for instance, elite abilities that you have to work your way towards getting, for instance. So,
and now the namesake, the secret world, the secret war that's associated with it. How does that come into the daily lives of players?
Well, the Secret War is, I mean, the Secret War is fought on battlefields and in boardrooms. So you have the PvP. That's a part of the Secret War. You know, when the Illuminati and the Templars and the Dragons are fighting in Stonehenge, it's outside of the view of, you know, everyday man, normal people. So it's a secret war going on. But it's also in all the gameplay you're doing outside of PvP, like all the missions and so on. So when you're playing Illuminati, you will be doing, for instance, ranking missions. Ranking your way up into the organization and unlocking more rewards, and those missions are themed according to the Secret War. So you will be doing stuff that actually that is tied to what the Secret War is all about. So you will do missions that is about, you know, doing something towards the other secret societies. So it's, I mean, you'll see it in the mission game, you'll see it in the storylines that are being told, and you'll see it in the PvP.
Now, I was listening to your community manager earlier talking to someone else, and she was talking about the different types of missions that are available for players. Can you go over those for us?
Yeah, there's several different types. I mean, for instance, you have sabotage missions, where you have to, for instance, make your way into a factory, and you have to avoid the cameras, and you will actually see the cameras searching for you. And if you step into their view, I mean, the alarms will go off, and, you know, NPCs will swarm you. You have to place, for instance, you know, explosives to blow stuff up and so on. And you also have investigation missions, which is, I mean, my favorite at least, where you're being told that you have to solve a challenge, but the game isn't telling you how to do it. So it doesn't tell you to go here, talk to that person, pick this up, kill this. It basically, you know, it's up to you to find out how you're doing that. So for instance, it might give you like a number. The game might give you a number on a piece of paper, and you need to find out the significance of that number. Maybe you go into Google and you type that number in, and, you know, it throws up a page from a Wikipedia article, for instance. And then you click on that Wikipedia article and you read about something like a piece of history or whatever, and you sort of make that connection with the in-game. Oh, that's relevant to what I was just doing. And then you start looking at words. It's like you know, the Da Vinci Code in a way. Yeah. And those missions really force you to think. it's not something that you quickly solve. It's something that you need to spend a lot of time on. And of course, you can't just Google the solution. I mean, that would be just ruining the game for yourself, of course. And then we have action missions, which is more go out and kill different things and so on. So we have all these different types of mission types.
So when you play the game, you mentioned you like investigation missions. What type of character do you like to build?
Well, I like fist weapons because they just simply they look awesome when you're doing them. I'm weak for that sort of stuff. I mean, I just like things to be pretty when I play. But of course, I mean, the beauty of the system is that you can mix and match. So I mean, even though I like fist weapons, I mean, I can also mix it with blood magic or chaos magic and assault rifles if I want to. So I mean, I usually find myself, even though I prefer fist weapons, I usually try to always switch around and do different things all the time. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm excited for the game. I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait to hopefully get into the beta and get a chance to play it. I'm sure our viewers and our listeners are as well. So thank you very much. What are you looking forward to when the game launches and you're going in and you're playing? What are some of the first things that you're going to do?
Massive PvP. Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to persistent PvP. Just being able to head into an area that is where there's persistent warfare and just being a part of that and being a part of fighting for my secret society. That's something I'm looking really much forward to. And it's something that is, difficult to test now at this point. I mean, we're definitely playing it and testing it, but I mean, when you have actually a live server with tons of players, that's when you really get a feeling of how that battle between the secret society actually turns out. Because one of the things that we've seen, in the run-up towards launch, is that people really have loyalty to their secret societies. On our forums, for instance. I mean, people throw up their logo. They make little signatures on related to the secret society, which is absolutely fantastic. And even here, when we're presenting the game on stage here at PAX, I mean, if we're just asked, are there any Illuminatis here? I mean, people just go crazy. So seeing that level of loyalty in the game when it launches, that's going to be so exciting, I think.
I know that one of our reviews on iTunes said, because we do a Secret War podcast, and it said that it's a pretty good podcast, even though it is done by a Templar.
Exactly, there you go.
So thank you so much for your time, much appreciated, and can't wait for the game to launch.